Hi
Hello!
guys.
Clint and Elise coming at you again to chat a bit about conferences. So, Elise, can we start with asking a really simple question? Why do we go to conferences?
Sure. Well, there are a lot of time, not just for us, but for you guys as well. So we thought we'd just run through a few reasons why it's really valuable for you guys to come along, to participate as much as you can, even if you can't physically be there. Why you guys should be helping us out with lining up people to come meet with us, talk with us, give us some leads, people you want us to talk to, etc., etc. So these are a great way to meet with lots of people at once. I mean, we would
Hmm?
probably meet at a conference with way more people than you might do in a day, a week, even in a month sometimes, depending on how busy the conference is.
Yeah,
So
it's
this
like a
is,
super day of calling.
yeah, exactly. So we can get in contact with lots of people at once, and this is a good way for us to for them to keep us top of mind, so that we're the people they think about when they think, oh, what am I doing next semester? I'm teaching this unit. Maybe I need to reach out to my Cengage rep. So it's a good way for them to know that we're still here, we're
Mm.
around to support them. This is also a really good way for content managers to scout out potential authors, contributors, reviewers as well, people who might not have responded to their phone calls or their emails. It's a good way to actually go up and physically approach them at conference and say, hey, if you're keen, we're publishing this new book. This is in your field of research. This might be something you're interested in looking at and giving us some feedback on. Peer-to-peer selling as well. Often you find it's at these kind of things that authors really come into their own, especially the ones that are good self-promoters. I know everyone probably knows of a few authors that are very good at self-promoting their own books. So this is really a chance for them to shine here and to
Totally.
go drag people over to the booth,
Yeah.
get them in front of us, get them in front of our content managers, really promote their own products.
Yeah.
This is going to help you to sell these products as well. And just for brand awareness as well, this is just a nice reminder, as I said, and it keeps Chris happy.
Yeah, I mean that's probably sometimes the biggest reason that we still go to some of these things.
Yeah, exactly.
The Wiley rep is there, the Pearson rep is there, the Girl rep is there. You wanna keep our brand just at the forefront, just right there next to the competitor.
Yeah.
So you mentioned earlier that we've been to a lot of conferences
A
lately,
lot.
and we have. You and some of the content team in-house attended the National Nurse Education Conference
Yep.
here in the city in May. Is that
Yeah,
in April?
that was in May. That was at the Crown. So a big thank you to Alison and Sarah, the LCs who came along to help out, and a huge thank you to our content team. We had CDs and CMs come along for that one as well, and that was super helpful.
Brianna attended a one-day TAFE Queensland Future of Work BSB conference, so thank you to Brianna for manning that one down.
We also had the Speech Path conference in Adelaide, which David Tonkin came along to. So thanks, David.
Danielle and Amelia went up to Albury to the PSCIA plumbing event, so thanks to you two.
Yep. We recently had AFANS over in Auckland, and we had Dorothy and Jeff come along, which was great, and we also had Michelle Ashby, so it was good to say hello to Michelle in her own home country for once.
Adora covered the Vet in Schools New South Wales event while that was open. So thank you to Adora for covering that open event for us. I really appreciated that.
And lastly, I'm just back from the ICCE conference, the chemistry conference in Sydney, and big thank you to Matt Tonkus and Jody as the LCs for coming along, and also Michelle, who came along as our content manager.
Cool. So from those conferences, hopefully we generate some leads in addition to brand awareness and keeping our author relationships good and providing opportunities for content to interact with people. Hopefully it generates some sales leads too.
Yeah,
So
I hope
Elise,
so.
what should I do with these leads that you're emailing me from ICCE or from AFANS? What do I do with them?
Sure. Well, I mean, depending on how long the conversation was, sometimes we literally just send you a quick note with, hey, get in contact with this person, make sure they've got the new edition, maybe because they're currently using the older one. If you need more information when we send you a lead, if you're not sure what we're asking you to do, please don't hesitate to come back to us and say, what are you sending me this person for?
Yeah.
I don't know why. Or if you want to know exactly what we talked to them about, sometimes these conversations are really quick because it's break time. People are more interested in food than us sometimes. They don't want to spend a lot of time. Or other times we have a really good conversation.
Yeah.
And this is what we'd say is the hottest of the hot leads.
Yeah.
these are the people that really want to talk to us, that are really interested. Maybe they haven't heard of that particular product before, or they didn't realize they could do things like custom. They didn't realize we had online learning solutions. So these are really good conversations, and this is the ones that we think, potentially have the best return for you. So in terms of what you should do, action them as quickly as you possibly can, especially while they still remember. I'm sure you all know.
Yeah, that's huge.
It's huge. Well, internal sales conferences, it's pretty easy to go back sometimes and you've forgotten half of what happened at the conference, us including. So make sure you get on top of them right away and let us know if we can help you too.
Yeah, we usually try to send those out, the day that we get back, or even while we're at the event sometimes, so you can action those really quickly. And sometimes it might be someone that you've had a conversation with a year and a half ago. Sometimes somebody brand new, and they just found out they're teaching something. So the hottest of the hot leads are the ones that you obviously want to kind of action on immediately. And those usually come with a little bit of a longer note from us because there is some info that you need. So moving on a bit, and I think we might be, oh no. Lovely. Okay. So we're going to keep going because, this is life, right? So 1 second here while we bring back PowerPoint.
So and technical issues. So sorry, kiddos. I think the last thing that we wanted to talk about was a little bit about what goes into conference planning. Oh, there we go.
So thanks for kicking around to that fun little thing. But a lot goes into conference planning. It starts months and months and months in advance with just deciding what to go to and what to decline. We do decline a lot of conferences because the ROI isn't strong enough, or because it's in a location that we don't think will draw as many people as it did last year. Sometimes because of what happened the year before, we'll decline for the next year.
Yeah, exactly. If we don't have very helpful organisers, or if we just didn't feel like we were meeting enough of your people, we might think maybe it's not worth going again. So we try something different. Yeah.
And so once we decide where we're going, then we try to figure out what to send. What's our priority? What's the message? Are we talking about a new MindTap for a specific discipline? Are we talking about MindTap Mobile? Are we talking about a new first edition? Are we talking about front list? Or is this really just a brand awareness for us? And we're there to support the organization. So every conference is a little different as to what we send and what the priority is. Then we also look at authors attending. Is there a way for us to do some potential events like you did at Athens?
Yes, yeah.
And make something else out of that time while we're there.
Yeah, so at Athens we actually ran a special interest groups. This was actually the day before the conference, and we got a couple of key doctors involved, one from UTS and one from Adelaide University, and they were super helpful and lovely to work with as well. So that kind of thing we'd also be very interested in, especially if you're sending on a conference to us as a lead. That's something we can look into as well, running workshops, running presentations, things like that.
Yep. Along that same line, trying to maximize time and travel expense too. So occasionally we'll reach out about calling for an afternoon or a day while we're there. The content team might while they're in town also. And then before the conference, we generally send out an email to all of our contacts within that discipline or course area just to say, hey, we're attending this, hope to see you there. Obviously, there's the booth time, which is the majority of the time at a conference. Any author, events, workshops, and then while we're there, when we get back, sending out those leads to you to follow up on. Then generally we'll send some kind of post-conference EDM also, either just to those people that we had contact with or again to everyone. And then conference feedback forms, which we do if we're attending, we'll ask you to do if you're the primary attender. And that's just a way for us to kind of have a record of what happened. How was your booth placement? Who else was there? How was the traffic? Was it good? And that helps us loop back to the start of this list for next year too, and deciding where to go. We really do look at those feedback forms and what happened last year as we're deciding where to go for the next year.
Yeah. So just something for you guys to keep in mind. I mean, they don't take very long to fill out, maybe 10 minutes for you guys. But if you feel like you got a lot out of that conference, if you got leads that worked out for you really well, make sure you tell us, because that's going to be a big deciding factor on whether we go again.
Totally. So where do we go again? Next up in queue.
So we got the Deacon STEM conference, which is happening later this year in November.
We've got a Vet in Schools conference in Queensland. And then our two big national conferences for vet, ACPET and VELG, end of August in Canberra, and then in Adelaide in September.
Yep. And we've got AXME, which is another STEM conference, which is happening in Adelaide.
We're trying something new this year. We're doing OzTAFE, which is in Sydney, just for TAFE New South Wales.
Yep. We have AERE, which is our big education and early childhood conference, which this year is in Sydney. And then we have FERN, which we're currently reviewing at the moment, which is our finance conference, which is happening in Brisbane this year.
And then we round out the end of the year with Anne's MAC, the marketing conference in Adelaide the first week of December. So that's just a brief overview of conferences, why you get some leads from us, what to do with them. Our thanks to you if you've helped with a conference, manning a booth, or working with content or marketing the day before or after a conference. And just a kind of a brief overview of what's coming up next. So hope you found this helpful.
Yep.
And we'll see you probably in a couple of weeks. Sweet.
Great.
Bye.